I shouldn't like Metroid Prime 4, but I actually find it really fun. It's not my favorite Metroid Prime game, that's reserved for the first one, but I still find it to be a very enjoyable experience. It's just not enjoyable in the exact way that I was hoping it would be, because there are some aspects of this game that I really don't like. However, I guess it's not quite enough to make me hate it, unlike a certain other Metroid game. So what's causing my complicated feelings about Prime 4? Well, it has some serious issues, but there are some aspects that I absolutely love. After just about being done with my second playthrough on hard mode, I've remembered that just because a game does some things you don't like, doesn't mean you can't enjoy playing it. So today, I'm going to reflect on why I don't think I should like the game, then give my reasons for why I think it's fun, then have a short discussion on what I think is a very underlooked topic in gaming. So with that, let's get started. Anytime I boot up the first 3 Prime games, the first thing I do is turn off hints. Playing these games with hints just is not fun for me. I actually enjoy being a little bit lost and having to really study the map to know where to go. It's so satisfying when you finally figure out where to go after using your brain power to navigate the world. Prime 4 rips this feeling of satisfaction away from me by only giving me about 5 minutes of thinking about where to go next before just straight up telling me where to go. There were at least 2 times during my playthrough where I was just exploring Soul Valley, thinking about where can I go next. Then Miles came on the radio and says, "Hey, you should check out the unsurveyed areas," which I was already doing. And then he comes on 5 minutes later and says, "Hey, have you checked out this exact location?" I can't describe how disappointed I was when the game was just straight up telling me where to go. Like, I'm okay with Miles as a character, but it was very disappointing when I realized that he wasn't going to let me get lost. To be honest, by and large, the Federation troopers really didn't bother me too much. In fact, I actually liked their characters for the most part. However, I really didn't like the dialogue they had when they were running around with you. To me, it seemed like all they did was make general observations about what was happening in the game. I am not inherently against them talking when they're traveling with you. However, the fact that they weren't really saying anything interesting made me just wish they were silent. In fact, I think the presence of the soldiers really made me dislike the Great Minds, at least in my first playthrough. I think it would have been a lot better if what they talked about when they were with you gave them or Samus a little bit more depth as a character. Unfortunately, most of what they say is very surface level and really just about what's currently happening in the game. Another aspect that I really didn't like was the linear structure of every level. While all Prime games have linear progression, as in there's really just one order you're going to get the items in, you don't usually go through the levels in a linear way. The norm is that you're doing quite a bit of backtracking in each area. Prime 4, however, just about eliminates this. All of the levels in the game are essentially hallways to the boss. I don't remember a single time in the main areas where I was unsure of where to go next. This was very disappointing to me since I'm one of those people who actually doesn't mind the backtracking in Prime 1. These levels are essentially hallways, however, they're really fun hallways. While linear level design isn't necessarily what I want out of a Metroid Prime game, I still had a good time going through most of the areas. I even liked the Great Minds better on my second playthrough, although I did have the speech audio turned off. Each area provides the moment-to-moment gameplay you would expect from a Metroid Prime game. There are intense fights, engaging puzzles, and even some quiet moments. The only difference between this and other Prime games is that there isn't nearly as much backtracking, which some people might actually prefer. So even though each level has the same design philosophy as the Great Wall of China, they're still fun to be had for veteran Metroid Prime players. And also, just like the Great Wall of China, this game looks and sounds great. Although, I guess the Great Wall of China doesn't really sound like anything. But that's not the point. I can be superficial about games if I want to. I enjoy looking at this game. The environments are stunning. Fury Green and Volt Forge are particular standouts in the visuals department. While graphics shouldn't be the only reason you like or dislike a game, they certainly contribute to how you feel about it. And the music is just incredible. Every song hits exactly as it should. The track for Fury Green is mysterious and beautiful, while the music in Volt Forge gets you pumped up to build a motorcycle. One of the best moments in the game is when you turn on the power in Icebelt and the music gets all amped up as well. There are very few games that make me feel as good as this when I see it and hear it. Now, an aspect that I think is much more important than how it looks is how it plays. This might be the best feeling Metroid Prime game, which doesn't come as a shock since it's the newest. The act of just playing the game feels good. How a game's movement feels is honestly one of the most important aspects of a game for me. I can get over a lot of other issues if the game feels good to play, which Metroid Prime 4 accomplishes. While it may not be too different from other Prime games, I do think it managed to up the game feel just a little bit. And no, I'm not just saying this because it has dual stick controls and gyro. I'm one of those people who actually likes how the GameCube games control. One thing I really liked that they added was the ability to dodge forward or backward. It's kind of a small thing, but I find that I'm actually missing it when I've gone back to the older Prime games. So yeah, Prime 4 has its issues, but it also does a lot of things really well. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide what you can look past and what you can't. That's why I think it's so important that we start really critically thinking about the games that we play. While all games have objectively good or bad aspects, how we feel about the game is entirely subjective. Even things that some people may find objectively bad, others may find good for some reason. A good example of this would be Metroid Other M. I think the story is terrible, but I have a good friend who really likes it. Teach their own. Ultimately, we won't ever know how a game is until we actually play it. Some people are going to love Metroid Prime 4, and some people are going to hate it, and some people are going to think it's just okay. These are all perfectly fine opinions to have, as long as you don't get mad at someone else for having a different one. Regardless of how much you like or dislike Prime 4, you can still be a Metroid Prime fan. While it does have a lot of similarities to other Prime games, Prime 3 in particular, it also has a lot of differences. We need to make sure we can come to an understanding that other people are going to have other opinions. Here's what bothers me the most about the discourse around Prime 4 right now. There are people who say the game is terrible and that we should feel bad about giving Nintendo money for it. And then there are people who are denying the game's flaws because they're afraid that people won't buy the game and the series will be dead forever. I think we need to find some middle ground here. We should certainly criticize the game so that way the developers know that we don't like some things, but we should also acknowledge what the game does well. Things aren't as black and white as we often make them out to be. The only way to improve the games of the future is to truly think critically about what we play. Now, of course, you may have read the reviews for Prime 4, and you might be holding out on getting the game until you're more certain that your $70 won't go to waste. That's a perfectly fine thing to do. However, we should always be careful not to give out hate for a game that we haven't played. If we can learn to think critically about our games, and to not criticize a game that we haven't played, the gaming landscape would be a much more peaceful place. Let's all try to make that happen. Even though I shouldn't like it, I really do enjoy Metroid Prime 4. It definitely has its flaws, but they aren't enough to ruin the experience for me. Just because a game doesn't turn out exactly as I wanted, doesn't mean that I can't enjoy it. I think it's important that we are able to criticize a game where it's flawed, but also enjoy what it does well. An important part of playing games critically is acknowledging what it does well and what it does bad, but still accepting it for what it is. It doesn't mean we have to like every game, but we shouldn't force our opinions on others. So, have your reasons, whatever they are, for loving or hating Prime 4. The most important thing that we should do is respect each other's opinions. You've heard my piece about Prime 4, so go ahead and tell me your own thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.